I'm Azaan Kamau, and I'm a writer, publisher. I'm a poet. I do a lot of things. I work for the community. I'm a freelance writer. I'm an activist, and I was recently ordained as a minister. I'm going to use my ministry to actually help the youth because our gay youth really need some help. They're a lost people. They're a lost cause. And most recently, my most recent publishing project is my book, In the Mist of My Blackness.
Now, what's that about?
Well, In the Mist of My Blackness is a long story. Actually, I started writing it when I was a child. Some of the poems, at least 10 of the poems, are from my childhood. And basically, In the Midst of My Blackness is a story about me growing up as a black lesbian and the triumphs and the things that I went through to become who I am today.
Triumphs? You? What?
Triumphs, setbacks, pain, ups and downs. It was all sorts of things.
But what motivated you to even write in the first place?
Well, what motivated me to write as a child, I was in foster care for 3 years. I was taken away from my grandmother, and it was very hard on me. And there were a lot of things that happened to me in foster care that, you know, I told the teachers, I told the social worker, she's just looking for attention, etc., etc. And no one listened. No one listened till I was being molested. You know, my foster father took my virginity, and the list goes on and on. I have burns on my body from the things that happened to me. And, you know, no one listened, so I started writing my feelings out, started writing everything out.
When you were a child, you started
Yes,
writing?
fourth grade, started writing out everything, and that's how, you know, my writing skills of today, that's where it came from. It was therapy. It was very therapeutic to actually get it out, because if the adults weren't listening, I had to release it, you know what I mean? And ultimately, that's how I got out of the foster home. I wrote my aunt some letters telling her what had happened and what was happening. And, you know, 2 years later, she got me out of the foster home. I became a ward of the court, and, you know.
Dang. So wait a minute. So how old were you again?
I'm sorry?
How old were you?
How old was I?
At that time when you wrote your aunt?
Oh, gosh. I was probably like 7 or 8.
And your writing was so clear. There was so much clarity that you were able to tell your aunt
articulate what I was feeling, and you know, not all of it was very clear, but I knew what I was feeling. I could communicate what I was feeling. And you know, again, I was raised by my grandmother, and my grandmother's a very intelligent woman, and she taught me many things. She taught me to articulate myself, and she said, you know, if they can't understand us, how can we compete in white America? They need to know what we're saying, what we're talking about, what we're feeling. And you know, as a child growing up, people would make fun of the way I spoke, and she was like, you know what, don't worry about that, sweetie. Just tell them that you speak like Martin Luther King and W.E.B. Du Bois, and you speak like Langston Hughes, and they'll leave you alone. So that's what I've done. And basically, that's where my writing came from. It was therapy, and it was a way to get out. It was a way to escape pain. And ultimately, it's grown into a way for me to reach out to other people, to let other people know you might go through something, you might endure something, but you don't have to live like that. You don't have to be a victim of what you went through. There's another life for you if you embrace it. Happened to children in foster care, like, you know, my siblings, for one. My sister Desiree has a burn that's from her neck all the way down to her toes, and you know.
Wow, wait a minute, you mean a straight burn? Or?
A burn. They dunked her in scalding water when she was 6.
Oh my God.
And another friend of mine, her name was Brandy, she was molested by her foster father. She has children by him. She has 2 little boys by him. And the list goes on and on and on and on. So people are victims of a system, whatever system it is, whether you have an alcoholic father, or your father left you, or you saw your mother on drugs, or your mama was a crackhead, whatever. You know, there are so many different types of victims out there that, you know, hopefully In the Midst of My Blackness will touch somebody. You know, it's gritty, it's hardcore, it's hard hitting, but at the same time it's loving, it's passionate, it's gentle. And hopefully, you know, it will move someone. That's my ultimate goal. You know, I was thinking, if I don't sell a copy, the fact that someone read it and understood where I was coming from and understood what I was trying to convey, that's all that matters to me. That's it ultimately. Ultimately.
It's pretty powerful. Is there anything in the book that stands out for you mostly?
Yeah, the first poem, Prayers for Dijon, is about my brother, Dijon Brutus.
Yeah.
As you know, I looked for him for many years and didn't know where to find him, and you were part of the catalyst to help me find him. And, you know, my brother Dijon died from AIDS on May 25th of 2004, and the whole time I was looking for him, he was already gone. And that's really painful to me, not only because I've been an activist in this community, activist and a writer in this community, writing about AIDS, fighting against AIDS, trying to spread awareness, prevention, et cetera, and then my brother becomes a victim, a statistic of the exact thing that I'm fighting against. Exactly. So it was very, very difficult. So one of the poems in the book is called Prayers for Dijon, and it's basically a prayer to God saying, if I didn't help you, or if I didn't do enough, please forgive me. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. I love you eternally. Please forgive me.
Would you like to recite that poem?
Sure. I would love to read the poem. Prayers for Dijon. Holy Spirit, please forgive me if I wronged him, if I was too busy, or if I ignored him or his cries. Lord, if I shunned him or pushed him away, I apologize, Father. Please forgive me. Please forgive me, Lord, if I asked you to protect and keep his beautiful spirit wherever he may be. Please, Lord, I beg you not to return him, reincarnate him to endure the pain of this land. Lord, save all people from this epidemic. Dijon was loving, charming, and funny. He had a great sense of humor. We laughed until we ached and cried. We wrote poetry to each other and to our mother. The poems began with my beautiful little sister. I will never forget them. He was talented and creative. He loved making ordinary gadgets and taking them and creating something wonderful, amazing, and spectacular. Lord, he was my hero. He was creative but isolated. He was alone and surrounded by pain, aggressive and manly but fed up and timid. He was hiding and silent because AIDS would be his demise. He whispered our family always made him feel like something was wrong or he was just not enough. Straight people called him sweet or sissy. They yelled sissy, punk, or you have sugar in your tank. All of my life I wanted to shield Dijon and people like him. He was wounded, Lord, wounded by the system that was supposed to protect him. Ultimately, the family, his schools, churches, society itself created a climate of fear, isolation, and ultimately powerlessness. Lord, forgive me. Lord, everyone judged and condemned him. No one offered him help, encouragement, or love. But I love him, Father, without conditions. Father, I tried to use myself as an instrument to educate people about HIV, AIDS, and homophobia, but I don't know if they got the message. I love Dijon, Lord. I still want to save him. Dijon suffered a spiritual death before his physical one. I believe that depression, suicide, alcohol, and drug abuse, HIV, AIDS are all preventable. But where is the love? Where is the compassion? Lord, eliminate the stigma that surrounds the African American community. Lord, teach and save our people from themselves. I will forever use myself as a tool to fight for Dijon and others like him. Lord, forgive me. Give me the strength to drag myself along. Thank you. There are no human words to express how I feel. Growing up in foster care, Dijon, he was my everything. He taught me everything. He taught me how to laugh, how to love. He taught me how to write poetry.
How old was he? Older than you?
He was, when we first connected in foster care, he was 16 and I think I was 9 or something like that. So he became my everything. And, even now when I talk to my siblings, they're like, oh my God, you act like him, you're walking like him, you sound like him. And I'm like, wow, that means a lot to me. I'm not trying to. I don't know what that sounds like. I don't have like a little camera following myself. Maybe I should, huh?
Wow.
But yeah, he meant a lot to me.
And so what else inspired the book for you besides, growing up and everything? Anything else inspired?
Well, one of the major things that inspired me to write the book is my grandmother. My grandmother, she was a very intelligent woman. Matter of fact, she's the smartest woman I've ever met. And I'm not just saying that because she's my grandmother, but she was very inspirational to me growing up as a child. And I watched her be a part of Yvonne Braithwaite's campaign, and she was friends with, Tom Bradley, and she was always writing. She was always doing something. She was an intellectual. And she was also one of the first black real estate brokers to ever come to California and actually sell property here in the 1940s. So she's like really big time. And I'm really proud of her. And she always told me to strive for the best. She's like, I know you're different. I know exactly who you are. She said, but you can be yourself, but just be the best. Be the best of whatever that is. So I take that and I hold that with me. And, you know, just recently I visited Texas. Every time I go home to Texas, I visit her grave. The moment I get off the plane, I go to the gravesite. And ultimately, she's my inspiration. There's actually a few poems in here that are to her or about her. And, you know, just the fact that she taught me how to talk. She taught me how to articulate this. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. She gave me a lot of really strong lessons. And matter of fact, because of her, I'm in the process of concretely starting my publishing company. I actually started it back in 2000. It's called Glover Lane Publishing.
I remember that.
Yeah, Glover Lane Publishing. And back then, I short run published 2 books. But I really want to make it a business at this point because, you know, I'm not getting any younger, you know. So
what? You? What?
So I want to make it a business and to help other people, publishers or people like me who can't get their book published, you know, Simon & Schuster or whoever won't pay them any attention because they don't have what it takes or the right whatever in their book. I'll publish those people happily with no problem.
Wow.
So that's the goal.
Kind of felt with GBF a little bit, just kind of putting stuff out there. It wasn't about to get money from anybody. It was just
about helping someone. Being a voice for the community, and that's ultimately what we need. Because, you know, I'm really passionate about LGBT media. That's my passion. Media. Whether it's print media or, you know, videography, etc., etc. That's my thing. And I think that's one of the reasons you and I are so close because I feel you. I can relate to everything that you're doing, you know, on a personal level. And you know, if we can publish somebody and get their stuff out there and change their life, you know, that's my ultimate goal.
Even if it's only one person, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously more, but, you know, even if one person.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, that's my goal now. So, you know, Glover Lane Publishing is technically named after her. I come from a place in Texas, Madisonville, Texas, and our street, the road that goes back into our property, is called Glover Lane.
Wow, that's funny, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, and actually kind of strange during Christmas time, because I send letters or Christmas cards home, and it says Jennifer Glover to Madeline Glover on Glover Lane. They're like, it always gets lost because they think it's a joke or, it's, you know what I mean? It's like...
This can't be, right?
Yeah, this can't be. Who are these people? Now,
that's your mom's sister?
I'm sorry?
Your mom's sister?
Actually... My mom's mother is Luella, my grandmother who I grew up with.
Wow.
She's the one. And she married a Glover, which is my grandfather. So that's where the Glover came in.
So now, what's you going to do within the Mist of My Blackness? What's the purpose?
Well, I want to sell it.
I'm going to get a shot of that, of course, too.
I want to put it out there, and it's like a voice for the people because it has everything in it from me being black, a lesbian, a feminist, a woman. You know, it has a bunch of sexist issues in it that we go through on a daily basis. And, you know, my thing is everyone who is black or a woman or a lesbian or African American male can relate to poems and words in this book. You know, you can relate. And I also included some pictures in the book of basically where I came from. I have pictures of my great-grandmother. I have pictures of my grandmother, my mother. Wow. I have pictures of my sister who helped raise and rear me as the best that she could after I got out of the foster home.
So, I mean, where's your journey taking you, though?
Well, ultimately, my journey is definitely taking me towards publishing. I want to help somebody. And also, you know, I was recently ordained. I want to use that. I want to use my ministry to help children. I want to help the youth, no matter where they came from or what they're going through, because at this point, they need our help. You know, I'm seeing some things, you know, some of them are on point. That 10%, they're on point. They know who they are. They know what they want to do. But, you know, the rest of them, they need some assistance.
When you say ministry, what kind of ministry are you talking about? Like a self-motivation or something? Or?
Yeah, I want to motivate them. I want to motivate them to do and be more because, you know, we're our own... We get in our own way. Like me, most of my life I've gotten in my own way. And I had to stop doing that. And I was beating myself up over things I had did in the past or things I had said in the past. And ultimately, we can't live like that if we expect to have a happy life. So, yes, definitely self-help. Self-help is the epitome of having a good life. Because if you don't know and you haven't been taught to love yourself, and, you know, some of us grow up in Christian backgrounds where they're taught the Lord hates you and you've sinned from birth.
Yeah.
That's not a reality. You know, that might be a reality for those who believe that. But, you know, everything is done unto you based on your belief. And if you believe that, you know, you're going to be a millionaire, you're going to be a superstar, you're going to be happy, you're going to have, you know, tons of published books, whatever your passion is, whatever you believe, you will achieve. So I definitely want to teach that to the youth.
Wow. And so right now in your life you were able to achieve, publishing this book. How do you feel about that? How does it make you feel?
I feel like I've had a huge accomplishment based on a lot of things that have happened to me within the last 2 or 3 years. It was very hard, with my mother getting sick and, the heart attack, and just very hard. And, dealing with, my brother and, getting his ashes. It was a fight. I've just been fighting consistently. And, this is a huge accomplishment. I feel very, very accomplished considering, I always have a Mack truck in my face and I'm always up against the wall with something. So this is a great accomplishment. I'm very, very happy. I'm very blessed.
In the Mist of My Blackness.
Yes.
Where'd that title come from?
Well, in the Mist of My Blackness means everything that I have endured since, 36 years. This is everything I've endured, and it's chunks of this period and chunks of that period and chunks of my adulthood, and it's a lot of different pieces of different scenarios of my life, things that I've seen, things that I felt, things that I was affected by. It's little bits and pieces of all of that. So it's everything that I've seen or experienced in the midst of my blackness while being black,
Pretty nice.
And the cover, a lot of people ask about the cover. Well, I designed the cover, and the clouds was the storm that I was going through. And the calm water is the calm or the peace that I feel now.
So the title is more so about how you feel and the clouds and everything you're saying?
Yeah, it's definitely a testimony. The title is a testimony. It's what has happened in the midst of my blackness, or while being black. This is what happened, even down to being pulled over on the highway by the police and harassed for absolutely no reason. That's in there because it's like, come on, I'm just driving while black, what I do.
Wow, in the midst of your blackness.
In the midst of my blackness. So that's where the title came from.
Is there another poem that really stands out that you would like to maybe recite to the listeners?
Sure. The title of the poem is In the Midst of My Blackness. I know I come from a tribe of queens, strong women, teachers, and warriors. I was told the stories of my mothers before me, living to die, freezing and sick in the stomach of a ship, dehumanized by a whip and chains, sacrificed life for the wealth of someone else. Blood of my mothers dripped in vain, misunderstood, arthritis-ridden knuckles, losing count of yellow rape babies stolen at dawn, staring at the noose from the porch, while the shadows of the night run from the hoods of the night. Abhorrence, racism, sexism hitting and whipping their flesh, sacrificed by the wake of hate, abuse and misuse, generations of hopes and dreams upon their backs, while their eyes filter nevers. In the midst of my blackness, I saw my mother. They instructed, do as you're told, taught to her obey her men, while carrying her nation in her stomach. Her obedience became surrender as she wailed for freedom. She carried those babies which were forced upon her youth, draining the oasis of her heart, while standing in lines at soup kitchens with the neighbors' hungry children, making sure we came into the world, while she died young and angry, watching from the distance as the system stole us and created jaded offspring. She was forced not to feel, to feed, to need, to be needed. Camouflage hope, barbiturates and venom in her veins, all while holding her head high. She was expected to give all and expect nothing in return. No feeling, no comfort, no energy, no solace. In the midst of my blackness, I saw women, all women, black women, women of color, running to their emotion and their voice, dying from within while passion tries to filter from their eyes, running to the existence of life and living, submerging as civil rights become slamming doors, the reflection of struggle, deflection, and rejection. Some with futile hopes and dreams, trails of tears and stolen land. Our women are at war with being human. We give the human with new blood. This collective oppression has given us strength. We are beauty, power, and integrity. This is what I was told, and this is what I know in the midst of my blackness.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Wow.
Thank you.
What inspired you to even do a poem for the title anyway?
Oh, actually, the poem was written some years ago. The poem was written probably in 2002, maybe.
Wow. But you decided to use that one as the title.
Yeah, it's such a profound poem, and little things in the poem keep jumping into my life. I mean, little things from the poem. Like
what?
Well, I see women hungry, the daycare, and they're struggling. They're going to take the kids away, and and then the woman breaks. You know what I mean? I see that. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. And I see, black women. I see histories upon black women where they came from. So they're trying to hold on to their heritage, but they can't. They can't because they're being broken and bombarded by society. You know, you try to, every time you hold your head up, okay, I think I can, bam, society knocks you back down. And, you know, the old saying, you know, I got my foot on your neck. Well, that's what I see. You know, that's what's happening to women. A lot of people respond to different types of poetry. Some people like haiku. Is that how you pronounce it? Haiku? Or prose?
Oh, yes.
Okay, some people like different types of poetry. So someone may not like this, but I'm okay with that. You know, I'm blessed anyway. I'm blessed by sitting here. So.
Any tips that you can offer other potential publishers or authors?
Oh, definitely. You know,
you ever publish your book? What can they do?
Well, definitely. You know, there's two ways to self-publish. You can either go to a vanity publisher, where you basically you pay them a flat fee to publish your book, and you decide your title, your content, etc., etc. Or you can do it from scratch and self-publish. Self-publish is definitely the best way to go. And if you self-publish POD, print on demand, that is excellent. That way you reap and recoup all of the money.
That sounds like the way to go.
Definitely. And you know, there's Amazon and tons of other programs to help you market, promote. There's tons of stuff out there. Even Google, you know, you can promote your book for free on Google. So it's amazing.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I know you can do the video thing, but I didn't know that you can promote your book as well.
Promote your book for free on Google. It's amazing. So, you know, all those entrepreneurs out there and hopeful writers, just do it. You know, what are you waiting for? Just do it. You only live once. Live now and live your dreams.
Wow, the community knows you, and you've been around so long. What can they expect from this book besides your life story? What else can they expect from it?
Well, they can expect exciting reading. It's exciting. I mean, you can't put it down. It's a page turner. You know, it's a stocking stuffer. You know, definitely.
Stocking stuffer, yes.
It's a stocking stuffer. You know, and another thing that they can expect from this book is my passion to be myself, the passion to say to other people, just be yourself and live your life as you see it. Whatever that is for you. You know, you don't have to fall into anybody's box. You know, step out of the box, jump out of the box. You know what I mean? And there's so many people out there who live compartmentalized because they're afraid to just be.
I know. I call it the Matrix myself personally.
Yeah.
We live in the Matrix. But some of us have kind of stepped out. We can kind of see that, this world is like in a box. You know what I'm saying? And I think the school has a lot to do with it.
I do. I think the school, the way the teachers rear, and the subject matter that the teachers are told to teach children.
Exactly, from the state.
Yeah, so I think that has a lot to do with it. And I think, you know, ultimately, you know, I look at people that I know closely, and I think that the school system is dumbing them down.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even the microwave. You know, the microwave is a handy tool, but it makes you dumb.
Oh, man.
You know, I could go on.
Don't even get me started. So the world according to Azaan, what's happening in it?
Well, the world according to Azaan, you have to elaborate, because that could be many, many, many things.
Just the world as you see it.
Well, the world as I see it, I feel like we as a people, meaning people of color, we need to come together. We need to unite. Otherwise, we're going to be exterminated. We're going to be literally...
Leave the white people out? Is that what you're saying? All the color get together and leave the white people out? Is that what you're saying?
No, what I am saying is we need to unite as a people.
It's only about white and color. So then it's really leaving...
You know what? It's not about white and color. It's about history and where you came from and what your beliefs are and what your ancestors fought for. Unite with that. You know what I mean? We don't have to exclude anybody or be separatists. You know, unite with where you came from and the struggles that we endured to get to the point where we are now. And that's what needs to happen. You know, I always hear about there needs to be some type of cohesiveness in the African American gay and lesbian community, which that is very true. But
what do you mean cohesiveness?
Well, there's a lot of separation. And in that separation, what I see are cliques. There's a clique over here, and there's a clique there, click, 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 click. And with cliques, you know, how can you actually embrace this organization or what they're doing or the wonderful things that they're doing in the world if you don't like them or you're prejudiced against them for whatever reason? You know, we're still black. We're still striving for the same goals. Embrace them. You know, let the clique go. Put the wall down. Get rid of the barriers. And, you know, there's so many other races that are doing fabulous. Let's look at the Jewish race. They are just wonderful. The Armenians, okay? They are doing spectacular because they are cohesive. They are a unit. They're not excluding anyone else. You can go to a Jewish school if you want to. You can sit there and, you know, read the Kabbalah and, you know, the Torah. You can sit there and do that. They're not excluding anyone. And, you know, we need unity. We need to come together, not only as a gay community, but as a black community.
Wow, but that's been going on for so long. How can you make a difference?
Well, I feel like if I can affect one human being on the planet, then my work is done. Because whatever that person is affected by, that'll spread through their consciousness to the next person and the next person.
That's a good point.
It'll spread. It'll definitely spread through their consciousness. And, to me, ultimately, I want to help everybody. I'm part of all kinds of UNICEF. I'm with, directrelief.com. I mean, I'm helping everybody. I, donate clothes to the needy. I mean, Dress for Success, that's one of my charities. I'm just like, I want to help everybody. And if everybody on the planet had that mindset, there wouldn't be any poverty. Yeah. There wouldn't be any hate. There wouldn't be any separatism. There wouldn't be, these people who look just alike hating these people who look just alike. Yeah, you know what I mean? It wouldn't be any of that, And if you really think about it, we're on one planet. All the mountains on the planet are in different countries, but they grow out of the same planet.
And they're still called mountains.
They're still called mountains. And you know what? My thing is, people say, oh, we want world peace, world peace, world peace. But if you create world peace within your own environment, you affect everybody. You affect others. So that's what I've been consciously doing, for the past several years. And, even in 2004, I ran into like some negative energy and negative peoples, etc., etc. But I kept my peace. I kept my peace. I kept my dignity, and I persevered. I look at life and I look at the world around me, and like I said before, I've created my own peace. I've created, a sense of peace.
Any final words for the listeners and viewers?
I just want to say what's up to the African Choctaws of Madisonville, Texas.
You're funny. What is that? Is that a group of something?
Well, that's what I am. My grandmother's family is Blackfoot Indian, and my grandfather's family is Choctaw Indian, and they merged together, and then, so. Actually, back in the 1950s, they had a relationship between 1952 and like 1959.
Dang, 7 years?
Yeah, they were together for 7 years.
Dang. Yeah. And what do you plan on doing?
Well, actually, I'm in the process of writing a book, her book, and it's a biographical book. It's titled The Memoirs of Madeline F. Glover, and it's about her life and ultimately her romance with Ray Charles Robinson.
What stands out that makes you want to write so much about it? That he wasn't some goody-goody guy like people think or something?
Yeah, you really don't know all the stories. You see what you see in the movies and his other published works, but, no one's ever actually interviewed the women that he was with, only the women, for that particular movie or whatever. You don't know the whole story, or you don't know what happened, and you don't know what Nancy Wilson said to my mother, and just all kinds of different things.
What's she got to do with anything?
Oh, man, it's all kinds of stuff.
Really?
So I'm writing the memoirs.
What's the title going to be?
It's going to be called The Memoirs of Madeline F. Glover.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay.
And, I've already designed the cover. We're going to use a cover of my mother and Ray from the Cotton Club. So
that will be interesting.
Yeah, she's pretty excited about that.
So you're gonna are you gonna come from a direction, as far as so this guy wasn't a good guy or a bad guy kind of direction? Or?
Neither. I'm just going to put the facts out there, what was said. I'm going to use many quotes. I'm going to use some of her love letters. I've already scanned some of the letters that she wrote to him.
Wow.
So, and she was there when he even has his pilot's license. She took him to get the license. She helped him study for it, and I have pictures
Fly a plane.
Yeah, I have pictures of him getting into his plane to take his flying lessons.
That sounds deep, actually.
Yeah. So
when do you think you're going to probably publish that one?
Well, I'm looking to have it out probably at the beginning of the summer. I'm looking at June. So.
Wow.
And it's going to be self-published under Glover Lane Publishing.
I really like that title.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Azaan. How can listeners and viewers contact you?
They can contact me via email at azaankamaau@gmail.com. That's AZAANKAMAU@gmail.com.
Okay.
Or to purchase the book, they can go to my MySpace page, which is MySpace, Azaan Kamau.
Okay.
Or they can go directly to the Author House website and purchase the book directly from there. It's authorthanthewordhouse.com.
Which would you prefer?
Well, they can go directly to my website.
Yeah, well, that's where I'll be going.
So they can see the other things and other projects that I'm involved in, because I'm involved in a lot of different things, positive things to make positive change. Well, I just want to say to everybody, enjoy the book. It's a page turner, you won't be disappointed. Thank you.